Welcome to Too Old, Too New, the music discovery podcast that brings you something old, something new, something Nate, something Bruce. I'm Nate Runkle, host of the Yo, That's My Jawn podcast, and with me, as always, is my good friend Bruce Warren from WXPN.
Yo.
The premise of this show is simple. Each week, we bring you two songs apiece. One new song that has been metaphorically spinning our turntable platters, and one old song that we believe still absolutely matters. What is going on, my friend?
You are, my friend. How's life treating you? Okay, everything good?
Super good. Super busy. A lot of interviews. For people who don't know, Yo, That's My Jawn, the podcast is the podcast I do, and I usually release every other week. And I have so many interviews banked up that I've been doing weekly episodes because I've just got a wealth of conversations to share with the world.
How do you keep up with your normal job and then your almost probably more than full-time job of all this interviewing and post-production work that you do? How do you handle that, Nate?
It's tough. It's a little tough. That's why I go through waves. That's why I have seasons and stuff like that. Like I do have moments of burnout where like it's just too much. And then, a year or so ago, I realized, wait a minute, I'm not beholden to anybody with this podcast, so I can do it on my own speed. So, that's why I'm always like, whenever there's a need for a week off or anything, I'm just like, no, we don't answer to anybody. Like,
Yeah. No, I hear you. Well, good. I'm glad you're busy, man. I'm glad you're busy.
Yeah. And how's by you, man? How are you doing?
Everything's good. We took a little week time off because I was sick as shit last week, but I'm back. And now that the nice weather is here, I feel even better. I love the four seasons, but you kind of get to the point where, at least for fall and summer for me, or winter and summer. In the winter, it's like, okay, I've had enough of the cold. Let's get to the spring. And then in the summer, like in August, I love the heat, but you get to the point where it's like, okay, it's hot enough. Let's move on to the fall. I'm ready for spring.
Yeah, I kind of like the temperature we're at right now, which is comfortable in a hoodie, maybe throw a blazer over top of it if I want to look stylish, like it's all about style for me.
I should try that look, the hoodie and the blazer look.
I think you could definitely pull it off.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll think about that.
Yeah. You just got to find the right blazer. That's
exactly. I was just thinking that it's like I got the hoodie thing down really, really well.
Yes.
But it's the blazer thing, so we'll see.
Hey, I meant to ask you, I remember you were saying that there was going to be more frequent inside hustles. Is that still in the
It's still in the works, and we'll have some more information in a couple of weeks. So we'll keep you posted as to these sort of Philadelphia-based networking events in the music industry thing that are normally associated with the Philly Music Fest. But we've sort of expanded, doing a couple more each year. And hey, did you see Philly Music Fest IG today? They had a picture of a television and it said "Stay tuned." So that must, October, whatever the dates were, that must mean Greg Seltzer and Jen Seltzer are going to announce the lineup for this year's Philly Music Fest. 7 amazing nights of all local music right here in Philly. So I'm very, very psyched for that. So we'll keep you posted though.
The absolute best. That's like my favorite time of year, like especially like because it goes like Exponential Fest into the Philly Music Fest. Like it's a perfect 1-2 punch in the area.
Yeah. So all good. So
Excellent.
What are we doing? Where we starting? We're starting old, right?
Yeah, let's start old. Let's hear your old because this was an awesome pick.
Okay, so I will say, props to Charlie Hall, the drummer of the War on Drugs. Charlie and I are good pals, and we're always talking music. And Charlie, like, literally sent me a link to a cover of a 1968 record by Ramsey Lewis, the jazz keyboardist, a collection of Beatles covers called Mother Nature's Son. And, whenever Charlie sends me something, I will absolutely listen to. And he said, this album is a revelation. I'm like, okay, I didn't even pause. I put it on and I was like, fuck, this album is a revelation, right? So, but, it came out in 68. And yes, it's all Beatles covers. I think I mentioned that. But let's go back to 65 for those of you who are not familiar with who Ramsey Lewis is. Legendary jazz keyboardist. They say many, many musical roads lead back to Chicago. And for Ramsey, his career he's from Chicago, started in Chicago, busted out of Chicago, and was associated with so many incredible jazz and blues musicians and R&B musicians from the 60s, Jerry Butler, Curtis Mayfield. It all began in church for all these guys. So in 65, he made a record called The In Crowd with his trio. And it was a huge R&B hit, but it was even bigger Hot 100 hit. And they had a bit of success. The two members of the trio left to form their own band, and he picked up a new bassist and drummer. Guy's name was Cleveland Eaton, and the drummer was then a somewhat unknown guy named Maurice White. Okay, Maurice White obviously went on to co-found Earth, Wind, and Fire, but this rhythm section was a motherfucking rhythm section, and they worked together for a bunch of albums, and in 68 put this album out. Now the other thing to know is there's a lot of history here. Another thing to know is that the record was produced and arranged by a guy named Charles Stepney. And Stepney was also a member of Earth, Wind, and Fire. And it was all in Chicago where all these amazing music connections were made. Ramsey was on Chess Records and all the subsidiary labels that kind of came associated with it. And Stepney, on his own, became a legendary producer and arranger. But this record, man, it is mind-blowingly great. Just when you think no Beatles song should ever be covered, he does a killer job. And I picked out Back in the USSR from this because the drumming is just insanely wonderful and the beats are great. So let's check it out. Back in the USSR, Ramsey Lewis. And there's some sonic experimentation on this record. Like you could feel psychedelia coming, psychedelic music was kind of coming into its own. And you could hear elements of that sort of seeping into the production of this record. And it's just crazy, wild, great. That's Ramsey Lewis with Back in the USSR from his album of Beatles covers, Mother Nature's Son. So there you go.
It's absolutely a fucking barn burner, man. I was riffing to it and like immediately like I got to try to track down a vinyl copy of this because like that it just sounds so sweet. Like just the absolute best. Like it's already going on. That track's already going on my list. I think we talked about it in the past. Like my Beatles covers that shouldn't be done but work beyond
right.
Sometimes even better than the original.
Yeah.
The phenomenal stuff.
So let me ask you a follow up to that. So give me an example of a Beatles song that should not be covered but is just unbelievably great.
There's no
What's
reason,
one of your faves?
There is no reason why anyone should ever have covered Across the Universe. And Fiona Apple and John Bryan put out what a fucking mind trip of a song.
Oh man, that is a great selection. That is a great choice.
Another one, Got to Get You Into My Life. The speaking
Earth, Wind, and Fire. Right.
Here Comes the Sun by Nina Simone, which is just a dagger, man.
Is she now Nina? I had this idea the other day because of checking music. Who else has done full, complete covers of Beatles albums? And didn't Nina do an all Beatles album?
I think so. In your list, did you come across the Chipmunks? Because they did one.
I did not. Sorry, Nate.
It's pretty good. I don't know what to tell you.
All right, so take us back somewhere, Nate. Take us back.
All right, so for my old pick, let me give you the inspiration on where this pick came from, and that is WHYY here in Philadelphia, the PBS station, did a special recently for their show Movers and Makers, and the special is called The Uptown Theater: Movies, Music, and Memories, and it's all about the Uptown Theater, right there on Broad, and this documentary. It's 28 minutes long. It's nothing too crazy to get into, but trace the history of the theater from when it was a movie theater into when it was part of the Chitlin circuit, and just into like how much Georgie Woods ran that place, and was the connecting piece to bring all of these great artists and comedians and musicians in. And I was a complete side note here. At one point, as I was watching it, because like I said, it came out in February, and I was like, man, it's a shame that we no longer have our friend Jerry Blavitt to kind of speak on this. Boom! Right as I thought it, archive footage in the WXPN studios,
Mm-hmm.
talking about the Uptown Theater and all. It really, really touched the heart. But what stood out to me was Earl Young is included in this, and talking about because he was a member of the house band there. And so my old pick is a song by the Volcanoes, but let me just tell everybody a little bit about Earl Young if you're not familiar. The Volcanoes eventually became the Tramps. And
Mm-hmm.
Earl was
Yep.
also the drummer behind a great number of the Gamble and Huff classics. He's considered the creator of the 4 on the floor backbeat for the disco sound. Very first time it appeared on The Love I Lost, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. And I just went on this complete deep dive on Earl Young, to the point where I was like, why the fuck have I not had him on the podcast? So that's my new goal. My new goal in
Okay.
life is to get Earl Young on the podcast. But I'm going to take it back, and I'm going to take it back to a Volcanoes track. And this is Help Wanted. It's a Gamble and Huff written song. And I feel like it's a perfect precursor to everything they did with Philly International. So this is Help Wanted by the Volcanoes.
Oh yeah.
We are so fucking blessed in this city. We have such a wealth of musical history, and every single thing out of it is a goddamn banger. You know what I mean? Like,
It's
it's
so
incredible.
true. It is so true. I'm so glad you brought that song into that. I told you when you had texted me your selection, I knew one other song, a different song from the Volcanoes, a song called Storm Warning. And I was at music, and I think first of all, you mentioned Georgie Woods, right? One of the legendary DJs here in Philly. He was Georgie Woods, the man with the goods, right?
That's right.
And I was a little on the youngish side, but I remember him just growing up as a kid listening to the radio here in Philly. But, I remember there was another legendary DJ who worked with Georgie here in Philadelphia named Harvey Holiday. All right. Did you ever hear his name? Harvey
No.
Holiday? Okay. So Harvey Holiday was on DAS, WDAS, where Georgie Woods was. And, all these DJs, they were like the original rappers, on a certain level. They had all this hip language, and they would double speak and talk real fast, and they would rhyme. And I remember hearing, I used to listen to Harvey a lot. I used to listen to Georgie Woods. He was the king of like the rhyming and talking on the radio and rapping on the radio back in the day. But it was Harvey in particular. I remember he used to say, some people listen to remember, some people listen to forget, and some people forget to listen. And he would say that on the like ramping up to the post of a song back in the days, when that's what listening to the radio was about. So I hear songs that sound like what you just played by the Volcanoes, or songs that Georgie Woods would rock around the same era. And I think about the great lead ups to introductions of songs on the radio back in the 60s, and it's great music. Earl Young, unfucking believable. And it's just, it's great memories, So glad you brought that one in.
Contemporary, and obviously someone you work with. Who's really good at hitting the post? Kaleo.
Yes, he is.
He is so good at it. Like, like especially if it's a song he used to play back in the day. Like, I hear the excitement as he like is just trying out his old wares. It's so great to hear.
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
But the thing about the Uptown that really hit me was like just this, the idea that place is just sitting there rotting away, and
Hmm.
like it really should be at least, if not renovated and opened as a venue again a museum or at least a community space or something, because just the legacy of acts that went through there performing is undeniable, and
Yeah.
I just wish I wish that people could pay tribute to it well.
Yeah. 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 Well, good choice, buddy. Good choice.
So for my new pick this week, I kind of there's a synergy between these, which is for those of you who don't know, Philadelphia is one of the host cities for the 2026 World Cup, which is pretty huge. 16 cities around the world, a bunch here in the U.S., including Atlanta, San Francisco, I think Texas, Kansas City, and Philadelphia. Philadelphia is hosting one of the knockout rounds, one of the round 16 knockout rounds
Right.
on July 4th, which is the 250th anniversary of this country. Should we
Yeah.
make it that far? Anyway,
Yes.
presented without comment.
Important caveat.
Should we make it to there? But anyway, so they invited all of the host cities to create a Sonic ID remix of the World Cup theme for 2026. San Francisco has one done by Dan the Automator. KC has one with Tech9 on it that's absolutely killer.
Whoa.
Atlanta has one with that Dallas Austin did. And Philadelphia reached out to none other than Philly's own DJ Jazzy Jeff to cut a fucking Sonic ID. And it is incredible. I'll put it in the show notes. I'll put it in the Substack and all. You got to watch the video that goes along with it, because it is a beautiful love letter to our fair city. And this song is absolutely incredible because you can feel the sound of Philadelphia in it. You can hear Gamble and Huff, and it's by design. He said he wanted to add a little Gamble and Huff flavor, and he wanted to add a little 90s neo soul flavor to it. It's like the history of Philadelphia music in this remix. So this is the Philadelphia Sonic ID remix by DJ Jazzy Jeff for the World Cup 2026.
Dude,
roller skating?
That's
a roller
Dexter,
skating jam.
That's a total that's some Dexter Wanzel shit.
Right?
Come on.
I mean,
Holy-
like, he nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. I mean, the strings in there, the backbeat, like everything about it, man, that is Philadelphia, and I fucking love it.
God, I missed the email about that.
I think it just came out last week or something like that.
Oh, really?
But, yeah. There is a playlist of some of the other remixes up on Spotify, but not all of them appear, only 10 of them, and that one's not on there. So I'm going to have to find something to put on our playlist. But man, check out that video. Look for the link, because God damn, it's great.
It's really good. It's really good. So it's not on streaming services, or
not yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess it'll get there. At least
Right.
I hope, because
Yeah.
I need to. That needs to hit a playlist. That's one of my favorite
Yeah.
songs I've heard this year, man. It
No,
just makes
totally.
me feel good.
That's really great. Well, completely opposite to that. Thank you very much. I have a new song from a band that I knew nothing about until about 2 weeks ago, because I'm just not cool. The band are called Fantasy of a Broken Heart. And I got a lot of, as I've been mentioning this band to people, I've been getting a lot of, oh yeah, of course,
Oh,
I know. Yeah, of course. Al Nardo and Bailey Wallowitz are the duo in this duo. Very Bushwick, very Brooklyn, together for a handful of years. They have a new EP on the way. It is guitar rock and roll, and it's rich and it's robust. And I heard about it because I think I was reading something about South by Southwest, and they were playing, and I dug the name of the band. So, it's just like, okay, how, like, Nate, what it's like sometimes, you hear a name of a band and you just go, wow, that's a band I want to check out, right?
Yes. Oh, all the time.
So they have this new record coming out. Did I mention? Yeah, it's like an EP or something. But I love this song. It's called "We Confront the Demon in Mysterious Ways." So there you go. Good new tune from Fantasy of a Broken Heart. It kind of reminds me of, like, I was a big New Order fan. I still am. You remember the band Chameleons?
Yes.
Chameleons UK or whatever. I always loved that real, thick isn't the right word I'm looking for, but like rich, very melodic guitar pop, guitar
Yes.
rock, and as soon as I heard the song, I was just like, I was smacked right across the face with it. So good. Hopefully you like it. Hopefully you
Yeah,
like
I
it.
dig it. It's got like that. It's funny you said Bushwick because it's got like that kind of like early 2000s Pitchfork. Like, I bet I would love to see what the Pitchfork review of this band is. Like, but it filled something that like I haven't heard in a while. Like, it
Yeah,
reminded me of like
yeah.
when like do you remember the Black Kids with I'm
Oh
not going
my
to teach you or
God.
your boyfriend how to
Dude,
dance with you?
that's the segue I'm doing on Saturday. Thank you very much.
Oh, nice. Yes, I like it. That's what it reminded me of, though. It reminded me of a certain,
Totally.
like, yes, I'm in it. I'm in it all the time. All of these songs, of course, will appear on our Spotify playlist, linked in the show notes or on the Substack if you're doing that. You can check us out on Substack. I'm at That's My Jawn. Bruce is at Some Velvet Blog. You can find us on the socials for the most part at those same places. You can hear Bruce every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on WXPN. You can hear me every other Monday on whynotradio.net, though I'm not back on until April 7th. Because the 31st is like a fifth Monday. I don't know. It's a thing. Who knows? That's My Jawn, the podcast, as I said, is currently weekly as I try to burn through some episodes. So this week is a little gentleman named Nick Hexum of the band 311. And we had a really cool chat. He's got a lot of Philly love, and we talk about some Philly show memories and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, we did it again. We're so good at this.
Thank you. But wait, let me just say something about the
Yeah,
black kids for a second.
yeah.
I think, I so where were you in 2006 or 7 when they came out?
I
Were you in college? Were like
I
what?
was I was out of college,
Okay.
and that was literally when I started listening to WXPN again. That was
Okay.
when
All right.
I came home and I was like in it to win it.
Yeah, I remember I got that song. They offered it back. This is back in the old MySpace days, right?
Yeah,
They offered that. I think they had an EP. It was a play on The Wizard of Oz or something like that. That was the name of the EP, if I remember correctly. And that song was on it, and they gave away that EP for free on their MySpace page. And that was a big thing. We got to get Reggie on the podcast, dude.
make it happen. I'm in.
We need to track him down
Yeah, I'm in. I would love to hear what his picks are.
and kind of like what
Where did you go?
what happened?
What happened? Yeah. Cause like, yeah, I mean, like, there's so many bands, especially from that era, that like I really thought we were going to spend a
Hmm.
long time with that just kind
Yeah,
of went somewhere, and I don't know
yeah,
where they went. But
yeah.
yeah, I'm in it. Let's track them
All
down.
right, we'll do the best we can. Well, yes, thank you as always. It's been awesome rocking this shit with you.
All right, catch you all next time.
Too old, too new, we're the truth.